offensive numbers for the most part. And while you gave up yardage, you didn't give up points. How'd you guys accomplish that?
You know, the biggest thing was, you know, I think we controlled. Number one, we tackled better on the perimeter. We knew that's a way that people have attacked us all year. You know, by motions and formations, and some of those up till Saturday had been explosive plays. And so we limited that, and the way we limited that, number one, we lined up the formations better, and number two, we tackled better. We tackled better in the secondary. You know, we had some things get away from us in some plaster situations, and they got us on a couple of tempo plays. But you know, our guys tackled better on the perimeter, and then our blitz execution in the red zone was really, really good. Thought the guys did a nice job there.
You ever had a team that allowed just one third or fourth down conversion?
No, that was the difference in the game. And the key to doing that is you have to win first down on a team like that. You have to get them behind the chains. We started out, it was a little slow, and quite honestly, that's the fastest tempo team I've ever seen on the field. There's a couple times where the chains aren't even in the video when they're snapping the next play, and that's as fast as you can go. So once we settled into that and we started winning first downs, and you get them behind the chains, and make them do something that, number one, they don't want to do, and number two, the weather's probably not suitable for what they have to do in that situation. Allowed us to be aggressive, and the guys executed it.
Concerned at all? No takeaways the last two games?
I mean, yeah, you always trying to create them. It's always a big difference. Would have been a huge difference in the Iowa State game. You know, we really only missed one opportunity. Had a fumble on the ground on the sideline we didn't get. The first third down of the game the other day could have very easily been a pick. But you know, when you're the thing that really helps with that is the third and fourth down, you know, conversion rate, and those fourth downs really count that way. Missed field goals essentially count that way as far as the momentum goes. So no, not really.
To that point, though, you mentioned earlier in the season, and it kind of basically led to the Baylor win, of going back to the basic, kind of changing things up throughout the week to maybe create those turnovers. Has it been kind of the same plan and it just hasn't materialized for whatever reason? Is there something that maybe you could switch up? What has kind of been the strategy last week?
No, we work it every week. We work it every week, almost every day. You know, sometimes the team you're facing does a better job than they have with ball security, and you don't get the opportunities, and the other time the opportunities are there, and for whatever reason they don't happen. You know, I go back to TCU. You know, they run the jet sweep. Quentin Johnson, the ball's not even meant to go to him. Hits him in the knee and bounces on the turf and bounces right back to him. You know, things like that. The other day, I think probably Jazeer makes the pick I was talking about on the first play, but the quarterback at Oklahoma throws those intermediate routes about as hard as anybody in college football. And for, you know, why he does it, I don't know, but he does. And with the conditions, that's a hard catch. So, you know, all you can do is work it and try to maximize opportunities when you get them.
Can you pick an area where you started the season, you're going, I don't know, but today has gotten significantly better?
I mentioned it earlier. I think perimeter tackling is something that we've done. You know, one of the reasons that we've played better, lately, is getting. You know, we've had to move some guys around again, but I thought that was favorable for us Saturday, with putting Jazeer, you know, in space, and what they were trying to do offensively. Allowed him to make those plays, and one that stuck out, especially in short yardage situation in close quarters. I know it led to a lot of those fourth downs. Was Aubrey Burks, really doing a nice job down closer to the box, you know, tackling and you know, we say keep it in a phone booth, but tackling in a short area, especially against the Gray kid. He's a really, really good running back.
I thought we asked to talk to Neil. Thoughts on Deuce Vaughn?
I mean, he's just a long list of guys that running backs in this league, and I think for the last really 3 years, to me, watching it has been one of the better top to bottom leagues at running back, and he's just another one. Unique combination, not necessarily of size, but of power for his size, and he can make some cuts. He can get in there and hide, and then when if you look at him, look at his lower half, he's probably one of the strongest backs we'll face, and he's able to drive through a lot of tackles and create yards after contact.
I'm sure last year you spoke about Dante before senior day or the bowl game. What this year can you add to that, and what has he added to it? And the last 3-4 games he's been really dominating. What has caused that?
Yeah, I mean, and to your point, it's not necessarily with statistics. You know, that I made the point of first down in a tempo team the other day, and he very simply just beats a guy with the football, reaches out and causes a fumble. And again, talking about the turnover question, the ball bounces right back to an offensive lineman. But that led to, I think, the second fourth down stop was that first down play. And so the point being to where, I know Dante probably wants a few more statistics and thinks that helps, but I think this year for him it's just the most complete season at his position that he's played, and it's routine plays. And that's what, and I told him that after that play. Like, there's not many plays that he don't have the capability to do that on. And it's very routine for him. He gets off the ball. He can create a lot of havoc, create havoc plays that may not necessarily show up on a stat sheet, but they're gonna win that down and give you an opportunity, especially early downs, to do what he wants to do later in the series, and that's rush the passer.
Discuss the development of Malachi Ruffin. I mean, walk on, probably not many people knew about him for a couple of years, but now all of a sudden has become a star.
He just does his job. Just does his job. He's it's a great story. Been put in some situations sometimes that probably not always fair to him. But he made 2 great plays the other day on kids that I know were known out of high school. If you go back to their recruitment, and probably not so much for him. But kudos to him, take an opportunity, make the best of it.
What did Jazeer bring to the spear position?
Probably a little more physicality. The biggest thing, being able to get off blocks in space. We changed our coverage structure a little bit because he was out there, played a little bit different leverage than we had, which can stress other parts of the box. But we knew we were going to have to do that against their offense. But it showed up. Got off blocks, made some tackles. Was really physical at the point of contact, tackling, ran through ball carriers instead of trying to, we say pull the pin, but he did. He played extremely physical.
How do you go about preparing for the uncertainty in quarterback for K-State?
There's enough out there. Will Howard's has played a lot of football at K-State. Actually, going back 2018, coached against Martinez when he was at Nebraska. He was a true freshman. So I got a knowledge of him too, and they're just as successful with either one of them. They both have their different traits and their skill sets, and run the offense a little different. But and that being said, like don't underestimate Howard's ability to run, because he can and he will. So it's just preparing for their offense. To me, it's not a lot of difference. A little bit that Martinez does that Howard doesn't, but kids played a lot of football.
Jordan, you mentioned blitzing in the red zone, so that might be part of the answer here too, but kind of slowly but surely you've been better in red zone defense, more field goals and touchdowns, for example. Is it being more aggressive? Are there certain things, and that's part of what you're better at now? Just how would you kind of qualify how much you've improved in that area?
Yeah, any time that you feel that you're starting to settle in and know what you can do, it allows you know when you can be aggressive and when you can't. It's a little bit easier in the red zone because obviously you shrink the field a little bit. But I think more than anything, for us, it just gives us the best chance to do what you were talking about, force field goals. You know, get a hand on a get a hand on the ball, create a turnover. But yeah, I mean that's just something that we've gone to with the more consistency. You know, a couple pieces that have been there a couple of weeks in the secondary that you know, figuring out what they can do, not asking them to do what they can't do. But yeah, I mean that's over the last couple of weeks. That's been one of the reasons we've been able to do that.
Blitzing down there, I mean, the philosophy seemed to vary. A lot can go wrong, right? But a lot can go right too. And if you expedite things, that can be bad for your defense because it's a short amount of time. But if you can make it go faster, that can be bad for the offense. It sounds like you don't mind being more aggressive, pressuring more down there.
No, I mean, really don't. I mean, it's. I think you have to be smart with, you know, every personnel, every formation by personnel grouping presents its own challenges, but also at the same time can present opportunities. So you just have to be, you know. You've heard me say this. When you send pressure, you have to back it. Well, what do you back it with? You know, you have to. You know, is it a man? Is it a zone? And so. Usually what they're doing kind of dictates that. What you have obviously dictates that a little bit as far as personnel goes. But I don't mind it down there, especially going back to early in the season when we were struggling in that area a little bit. If you're going to flip a coin, I'm going to flip a coin with pressure. So.
Okay, anything else for Coach Lesley? All right.